So this idea where we separate the content from the presentation actually was not even started by people making websites. That idea of separating content from how it looks, this idea started with book publishers. Who separated the text from the styling elements. And in a book, think about how many different books you've read in your life. They could be different by font, or they could be double or single spaced. You have to decide where the page numbers are, how the pictures are captioned. So all of those how it looks decisions were separated from the actual words. So the words in a book are actually unformatted, and then the publisher or somebody else is going to format for you. Okay, a few other things about CSS. So again, the format is going to always be the same. It's going to be the property, a colon, and then a value. So you'll see sometimes when I give notes that I'm very repetitive, but I'm very repetitive for a reason. You can have more than one property. Value combo allowed, and there are ways to separate them. And we'll get into that more later. I think I'm done with this side. So CSS has a lot of properties. So there's way more properties than HTML. In fact, as a whole, there are about 250 properties that we're going to be using. Well, we're not going to use them all, but that are available to you. And of course, we will go see W3 schools along the way. Not only are there a lot of properties, but probably here's the thing that you guys will appreciate more, especially people who are very artistic, is because we're using CSS, we'll have available to us now over 16 million colors, which is way above and beyond. So in HTML, you were limited to under 66,000 colors if you were using a hex or an RGB value. But in CSS, you have even more. So if you need to be really precise about how something is colored, then you'll have that capability. So I'm going to go ahead and switch pages, and let's get into more detail about the different kinds of styling that there are in CSS. So in CSS, there are 3 types of styling. And you will need to be responsible for all of these, but you will be focusing mostly on one kind. So the first kind is called inline styling, and this will apply to a single element on a single web page. And I'm going to give you an example of that. So here's an example. So we're going to stick with the color property just because that's the first one I've introduced you to. So let's say I had an H1 element and I wanted to style using CSS. So instead of saying color equals something like we did in HTML, we're going to switch to CSS, and we would say style equals. So putting that inside of a tag, that tells the browser we are using CSS. And then what we would do is list our property, value, pair. So just like in the other example, I'm going to stick with the color property. So I would say color. I would put the colon. There's no space there. Sorry. Just assume that the colons are right next to color. And then maybe this time we would put red. And you would put that in quotes. I would close the tag. I would say maybe hi. Hi. And then I would say /H1. So then what would happen is when I would go to the screen and I would show what the web page looked like, it should just have hi in red. So I'm going to jump out for a minute and I'm going to do that. I don't want you to do that. I'm just going to try to be very quick so you'll believe that what I'm doing isn't a bunch of garbage. So I'm going to type HTML. Whoops. This will be called hi. And I'm going to make the body tag. I'm going to make my font bigger so you can see. Let's try that one. All right, is that good? All right. I'll go ahead and stick in my /body and my /HTML tag, just so I don't forget. And let's go ahead and try this CSS thing out. So I'm going to say H1. I'm going to say style equals, quote, color, colon, red. And I'm going to type the word hi. And then /H1. So I'm going to save this as index.html. Oh, no, I won't. I'll save it as css.html. And let's see what it looks like. So what I should see is, you think it's going to work? I hope it works. What did I call it? Is it there? I don't even see it. Sorry? Where did I put it? Oh, I just put it on my desktop. That's not. There we go. So it wasn't a bunch of mumbo jumbo. It actually worked. See? Okay. I'm going to stop the video and I'm going to start a new one. Oh, I have time to keep going. I'll just keep going. Never mind. All right, so that's an example of your inline styling. Let me add a few more things and then we'll just call it a day. For inline styling, so some things to pay attention to. It's done right inside the HTML tag, as I showed you above. The format is going to be that you use a style equals property colon value statement to indicate